ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the world of V-Gaming Junkie News. The dross has been burned out by Andre, so there's nothing but pure gaming-related meatiness. It's all about the electronic good stuff as we dive deep into all that's new in the various interactive virtual worlds. So Valve has confirmed more titles in development. Gabe Newell states that Half-Life Alyx gave them momentum to really start cranking out the gears with games again. I imagine prime candidates might include Half-Life, Left 4 Dead, and Team Fortress. Portal likely isn't getting a continuation unless it's about other test subjects so they pull a 180 since Joe was let go onto the surface, and I doubt they can retcon the ending of this one like they did with Portal 1. Portal was pretty thoroughly wrapped up anyway, but if there's one game that really desperately needed a follow-up, it's Half-Life 2 Episode 2. Avoiding spoilers, let's just say Half-Life Alyx rewrote the ending to that, but still has its own questions to be answered. Hopefully Valve can wrap up the story in a satisfying manner. Speaking of Valve though, they're also in a bit of hot water along with 5 game publishers. Bandai Namco, Capcom, Cinemax, Focus Home, and Koch Media were said to be restricting cross-border game sales in the European Economic Area, according to The Verge. It would seem it was preventing games from being activated and played outside of Czechia, Poland, Hungary, Romania, Slovakia, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Supposedly, this violates an EU competition law regarding sanctions against geo-blocking. Each company was fined anywhere from the equivalent of $410,000 upwards to $4.3 million US dollars. Doug Lombardi, Valve's spokesperson, believes Valve shouldn't be held liable because this was done at the request of the publishers in question. And so a beta version of Zelda Ocarina of Time was unearthed in an F-Zero X development cartridge. Keep in mind, it was only 3 days before the game released, so the differences aren't too drastic. However, they did manage to find scrapped areas and various other things, such as a beta Kakariko village that honestly looks much less interesting than the final version. It's mostly flat with houses and perhaps one hill leading to one with stairs. One thing to note about this beta version is that it apparently originally had a grass whistle rather than a Epona song, something people might recognize being implemented into Twilight Princess. Also, crazily enough, you were apparently going to have an item that lets you control Navi. Given that Wind Waker allowed you to control 2 flying companions and seagulls, this might be another concept that found life in later Zelda games. Hey Xbox fans! Have you ever wished that you could pay Microsoft double the amount of money you already do and not receive any benefits for it whatsoever? Then boy howdy do I have some great news for you! As it turns out, Xbox Live Gold is doubling their price from $60 for 1 year to $60 for half a year. Microsoft pinky promises they'll use the money to invest in a better Xbox community and totally won't pocket the money off of all of you valued customers. Honestly, it's times like this I'm glad I mainly PC game nowadays. With Nintendo having charged for online a while ago, the PC is now the only platform where you can actually access online gaming free of charge. Now, I'm not necessarily saying PC gaming is just superior, I'm just saying that freedom is pretty awesome. In other news, apparently Microsoft has since backed off from the Xbox Live price doubling. I'm not going to erase this segment just because of that, because the fact that they were even considering it speaks volumes. I figure it's only fair that I bring up the update though, but I'm still glad I'm a PC gamer, just saying. And last but not least, there's a pretty humorous story in the form of a bot that turns Reddit discourse into a Phoenix Wright court trial. Micah Price, a software engineer who happens to be a fan of the Phoenix Wright games, made a bot that essentially takes posts out of Reddit and makes it into a courtroom drama, courtesy of Phoenix Wright and others like Miles. It also determines things like if the post is mostly upvoted or downvoted to shift tones and invoke the expected Phoenix Wright voice clips such as OBJECTION! While it's not exactly one of the biggest news stories out there, it's certainly a very silly one, and it'll be especially funny to see it done in a more heated context, such as, political arguments. And as always, from Game Radar's own page, it's time for the next week's round of release dates. It seems this week surprisingly has a number of titles flooding in. Starting out, Celeste 128 releases for PC and Switch on the 25th. Before I go any further, I should mention that I'm going to refer to the PS4, PC, Xbox One, and Switch as the old band from now on because the next-gen systems have been out long enough. Just think of them as the older band that still does tours from time to time. With that in mind, on the 26th, Dead Cells Fatal Falls DLC releases for the old band and Encodia releases for PC. This is followed up with King Arthur Knight's Tale for PC, The Sims 4 Paranormal Stuff Pack for PC, Xbox One, and PS4, and Stronghold Warlords for PC. The 27th sees The Dark Eye, Chains of Satinov, and Dark Eye Memoria for Switch and both PlayStations and Xboxes. Wright, The Eye of Atlantis for PC also releases that day. The 28th sees Devour on PC, Disjunction for the Old Band, and The Medium for PC and Series X. This is followed up by Monstrum 2 for PC, Sword of the Necromancer for the Old Band, and Tohu for the Old Band and Stadia. Finally, Bonkies releases for the Old Band and Gods Will Fall for the Old Band plus Stadia. This week's epic freebie until next Thursday is Galactic Civilizations 3. It seems to be a strategy sim, of course, set in space. And as always, that rounds out this news week. I hope you enjoyed and were well enough informed. As always, I Let's Play every single day, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., live stream Mondays and Fridays unless otherwise specified at 4:30 p.m., and these news programs are Sundays at 6 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time, but you can always subscribe and power drive that bell icon if you don't want to have to worry about keeping track of time zones. A like is always appreciated for the algorithms, but I just hope you genuinely liked it. Now that is it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. Spread this video around like the splendor of my beloved Ocelot, and I'll see you next time. Capitalize on life, peace out, have a good one, and I'll see you next week. Now then, where's my beloved Ocelot? Oh, Ocelot! Are you hiding from me?
Ocelot!